I think someone that does well on the GED will probably do fine on the aptitude testing that we do. Again, it's measuring, basic mathematical skills, add, subtract, multiply, and divide. It's measuring vocabulary. It's measuring recognitions in particular, of some specific terms that are not, jargon in banking, but that are related to it, just financial types of terminology. And it measures reading comprehension. Well, my understanding is the GED does a lot of those same things. In any business where, you're open set hours to the public, people have to come to work on time. We often find at the entry level that that's one of the things that people maybe, if they don't have a lot of work experience, they're just not used to that. But, if the start time is 8:15, the folks need to be there at 8:15. The branch opens at 8:30. There's certain procedures that occur between 8:15 and 8:30. And if one person's not there and it's not the absence isn't planned, that'll mess up the whole process. So, certainly attendance and punctuality are important. I think because of the image, that a bank has and needs to maintain, we probably have a little more rigorous dress code than a lot of industries do. Basically in our bank, the men wear ties and what have you. It's business dress would be the way to put it. Not overly formal, but there's an expectation, I think, in the public that you think about it, people are trusting a bank with their money and their finances and the ability to help them with decisions on borrowing money. And I think there's just a higher level of confidence when there's more what you might traditionally consider professionalism. And that's reflected in the dress code, that's reflected in the hygiene, certain standards of hygiene. I think it provides pretty good career opportunities. Banking industry changes and evolves just like any other industry does. But I think the reality is people will always need banks for transactions. They'll always need banks for loans. A lot of the people on the street don't realize a good part of what a bank does is banking for other businesses. You and I might think of, well, I've got my personal checking account, or I got my car loan or my home loan, which is very important. That's what we call the retail side of banking. But there's this whole commercial side, which is as big or bigger, which is all the loans for, a lot of businesses need loans. A good example is farms. Farms are very seasonal businesses. They get all their money in October, November, September, and then they got to get through the rest of the year and buy all their supplies in the spring until they get paid again. So there's a lot of lending that goes on like that, and all the services that businesses need to move money to one another, the checking and the electronic services and what have you. So all that creates a lot of long-term, the industry's here, it's going to be here, and there's a lot of long-term opportunity. I'd say probably, half, 2/3 of our branch managers have come up through the ranks. But a lot of our managers have started as tellers and worked their way up to customer service representatives, and then worked their way to assistant manager, and then ultimately branch manager. In this bank, one of our branch administrators, who is over 17 of our branches, she started as a part-time teller with us in 1979, and now she's a senior officer. So certainly for an ambitious person with some drive and ability, there's a lot of opportunity. So if somebody gets the basics down, manages to get into a bank, does a good job, experienced tellers are very hard to find. Experienced branch managers are very hard to find. An experienced assistant manager who would make a good branch manager with somewhere else would make a good branch manager for us. Those people are hard to find. Banks are always scrambling for good people. It's also, particularly as you move into management in a bank, it is from a career standpoint, it's a great industry for networking, because bankers tend to be very collegial. We have trade associations, we go to trade meetings, and you have the opportunity over a period of time to interface with a lot of other people and meet a lot of other people in the industry.